Like to call to order the District of Chetwynd Council meeting to order. Can I have the opening statement read, please?
As we gather today on the traditional territory of the Treaty 8 Nations to conduct the business of the District of Chetwynd, we do so knowing that we are privileged to serve the citizens in this community, and we shall endeavor to conduct our business in their best interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Prior to adoption, is there any new business from council?
Could we please add an update for the knife act base?
Okay. That will, okay, that will be my fact. Okay. Any other new business? Not seeing any. Adoption of the agenda with the knife act added. New business?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Carried. Minutes, the regular council meeting held on February 18th, 2025.
Motion to receive. Second.
Any errors or omissions? Staff? Council? All those in favor? Carried. Delegations. Or delegation. Sergeant Juanice Antonio Stevens, Chetwynd RCMP, Chetwynd Detachment Commanders Report. That's a teaching Juanice.
Hey, so I have a, yeah, I have a red publication.
I can do it. So
Oh, that's it. You guys get it.
Yeah.
Okay, I have it here. Yeah.
Do we have copies for? No, no. Thank you.
I worked really hard on that, Kevin. I worked really hard on that. Hansi, Miigwech, for having me here on Treaty 8 territory. Ani, Nin Juanice Antonioni Stevens. I'm Juanice Antonioni Stevens. Nin Doshaba Tikmishing Nishnavik. I'm from the Tikmishing Nishnavik, otherwise known as the Whitefish Lake First Nations. Makwanandolim, my totem is the Bear Clan. Ninja Janet Antonioni Stevens. My mother is Janet Antonioni Stevens. Noose Ronaldo Antonioni. My father is Ronaldo Antonioni. Nokmis Louise Bonhomme Stevens. And Nimishumis Archie Stevens from Gideon Zadie. My grandmother is Louise Bonhomme Stevens, and my grandfather is Nimishumis. I always honor my family and my ancestors in this tradition, because we don't know where we're going unless where we came from. So I'm here to present the detachment commander's report for today. Every year we have quarter progress reports. We are in our third quarter right now. We're going into our fourth quarter, and I'm going to present on the third quarter. So for our third quarter, on our enhanced road safety. We have we're working towards a very aggressive impaired enforcement operations, and we're doing quite a bit of roadblocks. We're hoping to get 30 impaired drivers off the road. So for the third quarter, we've reached 31 impaired drivers, and so we've surpassed our annual goals. So the next quarter will just be all extra on top of what we wanted to get. So we've done very well on that aspect of things. our distracted driving, we only got one. I see I missed putting that on there. I do apologize. We did only get one distracted driver this quarter, so we're up to 5. We're going to do better than we did last year. It is a challenging for our members to work with. It's very challenging to try and get distracted drivers off the road, and we are working towards that. We're hoping to improve that during the better weather. It's not going to be so inclement. Our motor vehicle violations. We did do one rural snow patrol. We are hoping to get up to 230 tickets, whether that's notice and orders of warnings to slow people down, or to drive according to the Motor Vehicle Act, like staying in your lane, which includes distracted driving. We did ticket 32 drivers for a total of 141. This is an area of concern for me. I am working towards with the members to work towards being on the road more. They are actually on the road more, and they're doing more proactive stuff, which is the increase in our check stops. So last quarter we did 4 check stops. This quarter we did 3 check stops, and that's where we have our lights out on the road. People see us, people know we're there, and we believe it makes a difference. People, if they know we're out there, will choose not to be out on the roads, or choose to drive a little safer, or a little bit more to the road conditions and to the Motor Vehicle Act regulations and laws. So if we move on to our crime reduction statistics. So this is where we're trying to reduce crime, especially to our vulnerable groups, like when we're not to our vulnerable groups, but working with our vulnerable groups, our violence in relationships and abuse, including elders and our adult guardianship. So people who are unable to care for themselves and are under the Adult Guardianship Act. We ended up articulating 2 more people into the Revoy program. We also did 2 proactive warrant initiatives. The whole point of that is to try to, we're also ensuring that our people who are on conditions are complying with their conditions. There's a reason why they're on the conditions, whether it's a curfew, making sure that they're at their houses when they should be, ensuring that they're not with people that they shouldn't be, because again, if they're together, they tend to be unsafe together. But also to the Repeat Violent Offender Initiative is really something that's really taking off within the province of BC to ensure that the crimes that are being committed aren't being committed by the same persons over and over and over again. If we can reduce that, we're going to reduce crime, right? We tend to know that crimes are being done by the same people over and over and over again. Okay, so we're working quite hard towards that. We do have a total of 8 submissions at this point. Again, for the full year, we're looking towards 10. I believe we will get that goal this year. So our victim services, we are we've had 72 new contacts. This quarter, we're up to 242 contacts, which is about 42 more than our goal for the year. Our quarterly report on accountability and governance, and that's about us making sure that we liaise and relay information to our partners, our stakeholders, the general public, all of our interested parties within the community, which is everyone, which includes this here today. Our goal was to get 110 meetings or liaisons, and we're up to 105. We've been working really hard with the schools, really to keep our more vulnerable children in school. So we have the grades 10, 11s, and 12s, who are starting to become our more vulnerable. They start getting a little bit more vulnerable in grade 9 of not attending classes, not attending school, and then risking not graduating from high school. And that is our only indication of success with our youth. So we've been working with the library, we've been working with the rec center, and we've been working with the high school and the principal to try to work around how to keep our children in school. Our next project is to start working with some of our businesses and try and work towards positive ticketing. So for instance, and this is a very easy one, you see a 10-year-old riding around with their helmet on, we'll give them a positive ticket, and that comes from community, right? So a positive ticket might be, I don't know, like we've had it in the past where Dairy Queen, we don't have a Dairy Queen in this town, so I'll use that. Give them a free ice cream. Dairy Queen gets involved in that. And again, this is something that we'll have consultations with our business and our partners to try to give some more positive ticketing out there for not just our young people, but our adults too. You know, you see sometimes our young people riding around with their helmets and the adult not having a adult. That is that child's role model, right? So we want to ensure that they also keep themselves safe. And again, that is just one example. It's not just about helmets, it's about everything else. Whoops. Okay, so moving on, I'll just go into the crime stats. Since we did finish the end of the year, I thought it would be a good idea to look a little bit at the crime stats, and you'll see that I did some fancy graphs. Kind of had a little bit of fun actually with it. So we did have total calls for service. So if you're looking at the graphs there, and I realize people at home may not be able to see that, but we have in the blue, those are the total calls. The ones in the red are the calls that are part of those total calls, and those are the calls to the nation, right? Do that a little bit different next time where it shows that it'll just be stacked on top of each other. Our total calls to the nation have gone down. We've done a lot of work with, and the nations have really done a lot of work as well with trying to work with their communities and try to get social initiatives going in order to ensure that the community doesn't suffer the repeat issues that keep happening, right? So we haven't been getting called out to the nation as not, and another odd issue may be happening is that they're not calling us, right? And so we're working now still to ensure that people feel we're safe. So we do have our liaisons out there. We do have our members going out. We've been doing regular meetings with their, it's like a community group, trying to keep kids in school, working on tutoring and working on a number of different initiatives with their young men's groups. Just really trying to be out there and to show that we're a safe place, we're safe people to call. We really do just want to help. Our calls for service are pretty consistent. They've gone down actually a little bit, but we're talking about like 10 to 20 calls, which is not really enough to say that we've done anything different, other than that at least they're not going way up there or going, there's not a whole lot that has changed in the last little while. Which again, we still want them to go down. Not saying that we're doing great, we still want them to go down. Our top criminal code offenses in Chetwynd, which are assault, thefts of motor vehicles, our break and enters into businesses and residences, and our mischiefs. And I'll go into a little bit about that. Again, I do apologize. So our assaults have gone down substantially. So if you look at it, it's really interesting because these numbers are actually for 2020, 2021, 22, 23, and 24. So you can see 2020, which is just at the start of COVID, we just shut down. 2020 or 2021, we were completely shut down. All of our assaults went down, and we started opening up, and they started going back up again. So now we're starting to level out, bringing back education, some enforcement, working with families. Our assaults are going down again. So that's a good sign for us. It's a good sign for our community. We're doing a little bit more research into why that's happening as well. And I'm working with my analyst out at Prince George, just to give us a little bit more of a hint, because we want to kind of repeat this. We want to repeat this trend of continuing a downward trend. Our theft of motor vehicles did go back up again, but again, for over the year, it did go down again. We did see a little bit of a spike in our rural area, so it's something that we've been noticing. We've been sending more members, and when I say the rural area, it's there was an issue that we had out in the East Pine area, which we've dealt with. We did have a little bit of an issue up in the Moberly area, which we are dealing with through the Rural Crime Watch, which I'll speak about a little bit later. But everywhere else, it's been relatively negligible. There's been some in town that has not spiked or gone down or anything else. B&E for businesses, that did go up slightly, but we're talking about two different files. So again, it's pretty hard to look at those numbers since it's a total of 7 overall, I believe. Sorry. A total of 6, sorry, for businesses. Beanies and residents have been staying pretty much the same. In residents, we had 15 total calls for the year 2024. Mischiefs, that went up a little bit. Now for mischief, we have mischief over, mischief under, but included in mischief under is mischief by causing a disturbance, mischief by being drunk in a public place, mischief by causing someone not being able to enjoy their property by being loud or by, even knocking on the door repeatedly. That is a mischief. So that falls under the mischief under 5,000. We have to remember that people who think of mischief, they think of property destruction. It is just the loss of enjoyment of the property, of the rightful use of that property. So I believe that is underreported. I believe that there's been a lot more mischief happening in the community that's not getting reported. And it's something that we're really working at. We've been speaking with the District of Chetwynd. We've been speaking with the Recreation Center to report all mischiefs, because without us knowing about it, we can't attend to the problem and we can't deal with the problem. So there's quite a bit of the mischief happening with the youth, and we don't know about it until either way afterwards or it comes up in something else. And we're trying to deal with it sooner rather than later, right? But it's late, it becomes too late. We do have one individual who's going through, or one file that's going through restorative justice out of Prince George. It's something that another thing we're trying to work on is trying to get restorative justice in the Peace region somewhere, whether it's Dawson Creek, whether it's here, whether it's on the nation, but we have no restorative justice in the area, which is a valuable tool for us. The court system is not appropriate for everybody. It's not appropriate for most of our young people. Okay. The next one is our mental health responses. This is quite interesting, actually. Obviously, you can see, so 2020, we have kind of a standard because it's not really COVID. People were just getting into COVID. We get our mental health statistics go down in 2021, and I believe that's due to the fact that we're all shut down, right? You weren't even allowed to go into the hospitals unless you made an appointment, or it was, death or grievous bodily harm done to you, or you're gonna die. And then 2022, it raises and I think we can all agree that COVID had a big thing to do with that, right? I know we have counselors here who are really involved in this. It is something that we've been struggling with, and I think we'll continue to struggle with for years to come. So this is not something that's gonna go away. I do believe you can see that there is a really good downward trend in Chetwynd. Chetwynd's unique in that because we are so small, we are so close-knit, we really work hard towards making sure our vulnerable people, which includes our mental health, are being cared for and that there's the resources there. There's a lot of work being done to ensure there's funds going towards those resources or to try to fund other programs. And again, we have to really think about how those partnerships are really working well together to ensure these downward trends. And it's not all about us. We just report on it. I have to say it's mostly about the community doing the work to report these so that we can see the trends being on the downward trend. So we did only attend sorry, trying to hurry up. We're starting a little time here. We had 37 police apprehensions. In total, we had 43 files. 2 of them we found not to be apprehendable. 2 were Form 21s where there's a director's warrant. We are mandated to go and apprehend that person. And 2 were Form 4s that either a Form 4 where a physician would fill out the Form 4. They do need a second Form 4 to commit them, but they can hold them for 48 hours. They get a second physician to assess. They can hold for up to 1 month to do an assessment, proper assessment. And then if we go to our collisions, this is pretty important as well because again, our vehicles tend to be the weapons of choice these days. They're the largest weapon that I can think of in our town. So we really want to make sure that there's safe roads. So our collisions under 10,000 have gone down. So has our collisions over 10,000. So in general, our collisions have gone down. I really truly believe it has to do with our extra roadblocks that we've been doing. Because it's not because we're on doing ticketing, because it's just that hasn't gone up. But I think it's because of our roadblocks that has helped. We did have a more difficult road conditions this year than we did last year. There was a lot more ice on the road. There was just the weathers were going up and down and really challenging for road maintenance to keep the roads completely clear. So people had to be more aware. They had to drive to the road conditions, right? And I think we didn't see as many accidents on the road this year as we had in the past years. And Finally, the quick little. Oh. Still working with the Citizens on Patrol, in consultation with Ms. Ellen McVinney and Ms. Kayla McDonald. These are the two coordinators of the COP program. As Mayor and Council are aware, we are working towards getting a coordinator for that program so we can get that working independently of the rest of us that have jobs and are trying to do it off the side of our desk. I know Mayor and Council has written a letter of support letter for that, and I thank you for that. We're also working with the Moberly Lake Community Association to get Rural Watch started in the area. I believe they've got that well underway, and you'll start seeing those signs out there. We're working in the schools with the anti-bullying and cyber safety right now. We've spoken with 2 classes from the Chetwynd Secondary School. We've spoken with Don Titus. We have on our radar right now Little Prairie, Windrum, and the private school, Peace Christian Elementary or Peace Christian School, to go and speak with them as well. It's really important because we're starting to see a really high trend in the high schools of bullying, especially with our young ladies. So we really need to start working with that at the underages. So we're working with the grade 4, 5s right now as well. I think I've already spoke about Chetwynd Library Rec School and the Chetwynd Secondary Youth. And I think that's it for me, and I'm open to questions.
Council, any questions? Go ahead, Councilor McDonald.
Great presentation, by the way. When I saw it, I was like, this is all the information I would love to see. So thank you for the effort that you put in. Have you guys been able to use your long range scope for distracted driving yet?
We have a couple times, yes. It's been really interesting. People have been stopping us and talking to us about it, and sometimes we get a little bit distracted with it. But we've been able to charge 2 people with it so far. It was a little bit challenging these last couple of months just because of how cold it is. You tend to have a police officer standing out there, and like for me, when I'm doing it, I'm holding on to the unocular, I guess it's called, and just to try to work it. So I think you're going to see us out there more. I know you'll see us out more now that the weather is more favorable to our conditions, so beware. But yeah, our long range scope has been very handy. We've used it for a couple of other things as well, so it's been very handy for our investigational purposes.
And what would you like the community to do when it comes to suspected impaired drivers?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, absolutely call it. So that is a thing that we're really hearing a lot of people saying, we know the police are really busy and we don't want to bother them. What we're trying to educate people on is it's all of our safety, right? I have kids in the school, and if they're walking into school, I don't want to see them get hit either. You have kids, everybody has people on the roads. It's really all about our safety. We have to work as a team. Call it in. Just always call it in. Absolutely. Please don't engage. That's the biggest thing is we do see sometimes where people will try to keep up with the drivers. Just follow the rules of the road while you're doing that. If you lose them, then, maybe we might be up ahead and we'll find them as well. We do not get everybody and we cannot be everywhere. That's another thing we hear, why isn't no police officer right now when we need one? It's like, we're out there, just not right there.
Do you mind giving the non-emergency line?
Yeah, so the non-emergency line is 250-788-9221. And if it is an emergency, if the person is all over the road and you think there's such a hazard, because there are times when that is, call 911. It's not a harm to call 911.
And I also love the idea of the positive ticketing.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Councilor Nelson?
My question is regards to mental health responses. So are people calling in and saying, I'm feeling mentally unwell and asking for your assistance, or is it more like neighboring complaints?
So we do have some people who have called themselves in. Those are very few. If I were to guess, I'm going to say 5 out of all of the calls that we got for the year. Most of it has to do with family members who see that their family members their mental health is deteriorating. Sometimes it's a check well-being, and we realize it's actually not just a check well-being. This is a mental health call. There are times where we come to a situation where they're is a criminal offense that has happened, but the root of it is a mental health issue. For instance, you get someone who's in a hotel room. This is an example. It has not happened in Chetwynd, or if it has, not to my knowledge, and is destroying the hotel room. We've talked to the person, find out that they've come back from Afghanistan. They're going through PTSD. They actually think they're in the middle of a war right now. That is an absolute mental health. We cannot go after them through the criminal code. So we then apprehend them and deal with that. And then they liaise as far as when it comes to a civil issue, right? But yeah, it's usually family members, neighbors, or people on the street seeing someone in a mental health crisis. There are situations where people are yelling, say obscenities or just acting abnormally, right? So under the Mental Health Act, our main concerns are they a harm to themselves or to others? That is the big thing. And are they presenting with an imminent mental health issue at the moment, right? So those two things have to be satisfied in order for us to apprehend. We are not allowed to just apprehend willy-nilly, obviously. We have to have the reasons. So those are the two real things that we have to consider when we're dealing with people on every scenario. And on top of it too, there may be times where we just go to do a check well-being, or we're attending another file and we decide it becomes mental health, and then we just change the scoring that this is no longer a criminal offense. This is a mental health file.
I believe that mental unwellness just runs rampant and is undetected so very often. And I'm just curious, so if it's not something the RCMP needs to deal with, what is the next step there?
So what we're doing is, if we're in a situation where we don't have enough to apprehend the person, we often call upon the family members of asking them how they're dealing with their family members. Now, if they're unable to, we do get our victim services involved quite a bit. They are a referral agency, and they tend to refer to our counselors or even to the hospital, of saying, hey, let's go to the hospital. And we do often try and get our clients to volunteer themselves to the hospital. And that is another option. Sometimes it's artful articulation of asking them, let's just go see a doctor and see how it's going. We can't apprehend, but often we get success on that, of having them go into the hospital. But the biggest thing is to refer them out to our various partners and agencies. If that isn't working, because we will get it where it's repeat of times that we're seeing the person. After a certain number of times, then we're starting to get more engaged with the medical, with Northern Health and mental health. And we tend to push a little harder with that of say, and another issue we have is privacy. So say we were to talk to mental health, we can say, hey, and we get consent from our clients often. So they're very good and very easy to deal with. We'll talk to mental health, like, hey, are they on your radar? And they can't tell us, but now they are, right? Because our clients have told us that we can speak with them. So then they just keep an open mind on that. Yeah. So it is challenging as well, because privacy is of utmost importance, right? This is all a person has at times, is their privacy.
Okay, thank you, Bernice. I see we're over our time, and it was great information. I'm certain if we have other questions, we can contact you for any information that we need to get for council and for the public. Thank you very much for your coming and presenting. Thank you, Bernice.
Thank you. BC.
All right. Bylaws, no bylaws, committee reports and liaison. Any liaisons right now? Councillor Neck?
Just a quick update from the Senior Citizens Housing Society. Little Prairie Haven is full. There's a waiting list, and Serrera's Place has one assisted living space vacant.
Any questions for Mel, his report? Okay, Mayor has one with Hockey Canada. Pardon me, and you have one? Okay, yeah. And what I've talked to Dawson Creek and Canada Hockey was we don't have the ability to put a sledge game on, but I asked to send a representative to talk to the school. So that was one of the asks that I asked Mayor Dauber from Dawson Creek. So with that, Julia, Councillor Nelson, yeah.
So the Chetwynd Public Library has digitized their collection of historical newspapers, and these newspapers are available on the Chetwynd Public Library website. Simply go to the newspaper archive button, input your library number, then proceed to search our community's rich history. This project was partially funded by the District of Chetwynd in 2024. And the BC Hydro Go Fund is wrapping up opportunities as the Site C dam has been completed. As funding was correlated directly with each year the dam was under construction. Our next board meeting on the Go Fund is March 13th. I will update our community following that date should there be more funding intake. Many of our community's nonprofit groups have successfully received Go Fund grants over the last decade. Such groups include Meals on Wheels, Chetwynd Community Arts Council, Chetwynd Public Library, Tansy Friendship Center, and many, many more. So should there be more funding, I will be urging our community's nonprofits to move forward on those. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports? Can I have a motion to accept reports?
Second.
All those in favor? Carried. We are discussion items. Letter from the BC Association of Farmers Market dated February 7th, 2025. Letter of support.
I'll make that motion that council provide a letter of support to the.
Mike. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I'll make that motion that council provide a letter of support to the BC Minister of Health, the Honorable Josie Osborne, to secure ongoing funding and expand funding investment for the BC Farmers Market Nutrition and Coupon Program.
Second.
Discussion on? All those in favor, send me a letter. And it will be circulated once you get the letter.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Correspondence, letter from the Honorable Gary Berg, Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General to Mayor Lilia Hanson, City of Fort St. John Mayor, dated February 10th, 2025. Vacancy concerns at the North District General Investigation Service Office.
Motion to receive.
Second.
All those in favor? Carried. Letter from CM and Operations Lifesaver Canada dated January 22nd, 2025. Appreciation for proclamating Rail Safety Week in 2024.
Motion to receive.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Information items, I-1 through I-7, any to be pulled? Okay, accept, motion,
Motion to receive I-1 through I-7.
Second.
all those in favor? Carried. Reports for action. RA1, Federation of Canadian Municipalities Annual Conference and Trade Show Registration.
Cheryl, motion that council authorize 2 members of council to attend the 2025 Federation of Canadian Municipalities Annual Conference and Trade Show in Ottawa, Ontario, May 29 through June 1, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Councillor? Nelson?
Just a quick clarification. So we're authorizing 2 members of council. Now, is that additionally the mayor or mayor included within that?
See you.
That would be the mayor and 1 councillor.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on it? All those in favor? Carried. RA2, food truck.
I'll make a motion that council permit food trucks to be located at district approved events and locations within the district of Chetwynd boundaries.
Second.
Discussion on it? Councillor Dick?
In the past, I don't have any issues with them at the farmers market and special events and so on. Really, I don't think we can have them all over town. We've ran into this before. They had parked in places they weren't supposed to in the past. I don't have a problem with it, kind of as it reads.
The way it's currently run is if you see them around town, it's because the business that owns the property is agreed to that. And it does not violate by law in that circumstance. But what this is doing is just for our events. If they're pre-approved, they could have, for Christmas lineups or parades or whatever.
Yeah, I was just referring to when they were parking all over the place. Well,
Last year we had bylaw action moving them all. If they weren't parked where they had, like you'd see them, the IGA parking lot and Northwest, and businesses gave their approval for that.
yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Hunt?
Do they have to get permits for that, or they can just show up? What does that look like?
Oh, absolutely. They have operating permits for mental health before they can operate at all. And then for any of our events and anything in town, we're supposed to have business license. So they generally are registered with us. And again, we follow up with the one. So there's some that are kind of migratory, and sometimes we might not catch all of them, but we do keep on top of the ones, especially.
Councillor Nelson?
So it does seem like we have already been allowing this. Are we just getting our policies updated, or am I incorrect in thinking that's what was going on?
Well, this is more administrative to reflect a need that's been more established starting the last 2 years. The Harvest Fest is one where the organizers wanted to have food trucks. The bylaw didn't necessarily permit it, so we did a one-off permission for that. And this just cleans it up so that it's clear for everybody. If it's a public event and they have prior approval on district property, they can have it. So they have to still go through Northern Health business license.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on it? Nope. All those in favor? Carried. RA3, Minerals North Conference and Trade Show Registration.
I'll make a motion that all members of council be authorized to be registered for the Minerals North Conference and Trade Show in Prince George, BC, April 30th to May 2nd, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. RA4, carving donations for Williams Lake, Prince Rupert, and the village of Fraser Lake.
I'd like to motion that council approve the carving donations of the Survival of the Fittest to Prince Rupert, Friends of the Sea to Village of Fraser Lake, and the Guardian to Williams Lake.
Second.
Yeah, okay. Mel, second discussion?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know I've been told in the past, but can I ask again, at what point do our carvings, get donated? Like, is it at an age and we have a certain amount, okay?
Yes, thank you for asking. It's actually quite complicated. They can't have any designation for second or third at people's choice. First priorities are age, and depending on how they're made as well has to be a consideration. But that is primarily what the idea is. I believe council made a policy back when we first started this, around 200. So we're trying to keep that. So by donating them, we're still able to go and keep up with that target of what we're doing. So that's how they're selected and submitted for approval.
And again, there's some sort of contract that they take on the maintenance of these gardens.
Correct, we deliver them, and then we give them the long-term maintenance plan on how they restore them, and then they may reach back out to us for advice, but we give them an idea of the product. We also usually bring a stain with us, and they have a sample, but the maintenance then turns to them, yes.
Councillor Deck?
And the ones that are in town, a lot of them are donated to businesses, or are they just, because Carey Price seems like it should go to Williams Lake.
He possibly should. I'll have to see what if he was first, second, or third people's choice.
Okay.
But it does make sense, doesn't it? There is the idea behind it that it also fits their communities. We also try to give them that selection part of it. But yeah,
Thank you.
I would second that move. Councillor Hunt?
I'm just curious if they're gonna do we're gonna take that garden up and we'll go to Prince River, and will that be like what we did last year in Smithers?
Staff?
I'm just coordinating that effort based on council's approval tonight. But the intent is to try to do the village of Fraser Lake prior to the NCLGA and Prince River, drop it, and then do the unveiling while you're at the NCLGA and Prince River. And then on your way back, you would do the unveiling for the village of Fraser for those two. And then Williams Lake, I'm still trying to coordinate that timing for them that work for their council as well.
Any other questions? We're just out on you're gonna check on the Carey Price?
I will check on the carry price.
Okay, thank you. That'd be appropriate, I think. Anyway, if there isn't any other discussion, all in favor? Okay. Okay. No reports for action or for information. New business, NIFAC. Councillor Nelson?
So I heard there was a rumor that our NIFAC base had some trailers or a trailer delivered. I haven't feasted my eyes upon this, but I'm wondering if staff has an update and if we're moving forward with getting our NIFAC base back.
Well, yes and no. They did deliver some new infrastructure, some new trailers and stuff. The idea is not that we get our NIFAC back, but it is launching for firefighters during the fire season when there's crews in the area, as well as office and storage and kind of stuff. So they did deliver some new modulars here 2 weeks ago or so, but there's been no indication that they're restoring our base to the NIFAC designation.
And do you think there's further moves that we can make to ensure that we do?
Well, there's always moves, don't give up. So we have the new minister coming up for a visit. That will be, I'm sure, one of the topics of discussion we can have. And we'll continue to apply the pressure where we can. They've been super clear so far that it's not really negotiable, but we're still negotiating.
Thank you.
So the invite, the minister, when I talked to him in Prince George, that he indicated that he would be coming down prior to sitting in the legislature. And now his assistant said that potentially the March 18th. So that's one of the dates that they sent me. So if you want to put that, that's potential. It all depends on what's going on with their tariffs and stuff like that are happening because he is the forest minister. So if stuff happens, they'll put us on hold again. So anyway, hopefully he'll he'll come here. His name is Ravi Parmar. That's Minister Force. All right, anything else, Counselor? We did? Okay. Public questions, any questions from the public on this, what we had on the agenda today? Come to the mic, please, now that we're working. State your name and what part of the agenda we'd like to speak on.
Lacey Archer, I was wondering about the chainsaw carvings, if there's ever been any talk about actually maybe like raffling them off to bring money back to the society in any capacity, or selling them instead of donating them. Because I noticed that in the Carver Society delegation, that I think they were like in the whole 20,000 for the last 2 years. So I'm just wondering if that money could somehow come back to the society in any way.
The holding of what we pay out, we pay, what was it last year? For the property of owning the wood. And then that way we get to put it around, and it takes the society out of it for maintaining it. That we maintain it for them. Well, not for them, for us, because it becomes our property after that. Do you have any other on that, Ellen?
Well, I think it was a good question. Back in history, when we first started, we actually explored the options. We wish we would be able to generate the revenue based on the value of the permit, but it ended up being that we actually didn't receive very much money in regards to auctioning them off or giving them. We ended up, I believe, in the end of what we posted, I want to say $700 or something like that for a couple that went to. I believe it was Mackenzie at the time, so it ended up being a lot more money and not worth the actual value.
Right. I just thought maybe like even a raffle or something where tickets can be sold. I wasn't sure how that worked. If it's not property of the society anymore, is that what I'm hearing? It's now district property?
Yep.
Okay, well, just an idea maybe to get money back into the society because of how much they were in the hole the last 2 years. Just some food for thought.
Councilor Nelson has a question.
I just wanted to add how invaluable it is when we partner with the other cities and communities that we do deliver these carvings to. I can only speak on Smithers last year when we showed up with the lionfish carving and presented it in front of their city hall, and how much it bonds our communities together. And while I really understand that we want to ensure the Carving Society financially does well, I believe that when we bring these carvings, we bring numerous people back to our community because they get this buy-in. And if you really saw how excited the mayor and community are of these other communities, I think that you would see a lot of the value there. And people look to Chetwynd and they know that we are the carving community, and they know because we've kind of become like a family with these carvings. And I urge you to look around in the other communities that do hold these carvings and have a look and talk to the people, because I think you'll really see very clearly how important it is. Thanks.
I can appreciate that actually. Thank you.
Councilor Dick?
And we did try and sell them, and like Ellen said, and I was a big proponent of that myself, was in order to clear some out of the system. I was a big proponent, and it just didn't make a lot of money actually.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Not hearing any? Reconvene. I'd like to, number 14, recess to a closed meeting. I need the motion read out, please.
Motion to exclude the public under the Community Charter Section 91. You want the rest of it?
Yes, please.
Negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages, and that, in the view of the council, could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Let's start off with, I guess, the vision that you guys saw by the time you were in council 7 years ago with this building. What was the vision of this building back then?
So back then, the vision was based on the elders and people in community who fantasized about having a building where we could all gather, a big enough space to accommodate everyone and more people, so that we could house bigger events and bring more people together, because the current gym that we have is too small, and because we're growing in population, we needed to expand.
What was it like when you guys decided that, you know, you were going to go ahead and do it? Like, was there excitement? Were people nervous? What was that journey like?
So when the organization came together to talk about the idea becoming a reality, there was a lot of unknowns. Where is the money going to come from? How are we going to fund it? So before the excitement, there was worry and stress, and there was a lot of unanswered questions to make the idea a little uneasy. But over time, the questions started to get answers, and then the funding came, and then that's when the excitement came, because now we have a way to navigate to the project.
What would you say was one of the more challenging aspects of building this, making this project a reality?
So the biggest challenge of all, of course, is the budget, because you can plan so much, but then there's always something thrown into the mix where it was unexpected. So then you have to accommodate, you know, the budget and figure out, how do you navigate this cost that we didn't foresee? And so it really did come down to how to manage the money, and we had a good enough contingency that all the outside things that we didn't expect and plan for, it worked out in the end. It all just fell into place and things happened, and we're grateful for that.
Can you give us do you know numbers by any chance, just roughly like total cost of project, and how long did it take to build?
So the build took 3 years, 2-3 years, and the funding came from 3 different pots. So in total, around 27 million. Can't give an exact number right off the top of my head, but we had enormous help from the federal and provincial governments, and then the nation kicked in some of our dollars to make it all work out.
And when you look at the building here today,